Okay, so you might not think that you're ever going to get on a stage or public speak or do anything like that. So you might think that public speaking doesn't really apply to you, but that's not the truth, because whether you are looking for a job or you need to ask somebody for a loan or you need to have a conversation with your stupid ex-boyfriend or anything like that, you're going to need to know these public speaking tips to be able to be respected while you have that conversation. I'm Danielle Ford, the founder of Young Moms Club, where young moms go to empower themselves and design their perfect lives. And last week, I had the amazing experience of being able to help a really good friend of mine, Regina Bailey, out with her Someone Cares self-esteem photo shoot for teen girls. Now, I'm also part of another charity that I've been working on for a few months with 7 other moms here in Las Vegas, and I will tell you a little bit more about that later on when it starts progressing a little bit. But all of us decided to help Regina out with her event, and it ended up being a really, really good experience for all of the 20-something girls that attended. Now, I volunteered to be a happiness coordinator to talk to the girls and make sure that they were paying attention and that all their questions were answered, and I also volunteered to do hair for the photo shoot. But I wasn't planning on being a speaker until about a minute before one of the speakers was supposed to go on. She texted Regina that she couldn't make it. So Regina was a little bit in a bind, and I just said, well, I'll speak, I guess. What should I talk about? And then she told me that the speaker was going to talk about communication. And I've actually been trained by this particular woman in the past. And although I don't know what she was going to talk about, I felt confident being able to talk to these girls about how to speak confidently. So I went through these tips with them, and it was incredible. I actually made them, first I went through all the things that you have to do to effectively speak in public and persuade people and get respect. And then I had each girl come up one by one and say something in front of the audience. And then we kind of pinpointed out what she did wrong and what her body language was saying. And then she did it again. And every single time, every single girl, it was like a 5,000% difference. Everybody, all the other girls, all the volunteers, parents, they were just like cheering because it was such a huge transformation just with these simple tips. So here are the 6 tips that will make you a better speaker, more confident, get your point across, and have people respecting what you have to say. Number 1 is to take a deep breath. A lot of times when you have to give a speech or you have to say something important, you forget to breathe. So you might be thinking about what you're going to say, and then it's time, and all of a sudden you start talking, and you run out of breath. Well, before you have to say whatever blurb you're about to say, it's okay to just stop, take a deep breath, and then continue on. Number 2 is to stand up straight. Your mother always told you about your posture. Well, she was right. It looks really bad, and it makes you look like you are uncomfortable or you are not confident if you're slouching over like this. You just need to stand up straight. And no matter what you say, people are going to perceive you as confident. Number 3 is to keep your hands down to the side. I am the worst at this. In my normal life, all the time, I am a constant mover. I'm always moving around. I'm always twitching. I'm always doing something weird. But through all of my education on speaking, the most important thing I've learned is to hold my hands down to the side. And the reason why is because anytime you're trying to get your message across or speak to a person, you want them focused on you, and you're also giving off a lot of energy. So by standing here and moving your hands like this, or rocking side to side, or putting your hands in your pocket, you're saying your words, but your energy is going all over the place. So if I was to say, like, I'm Danielle Ford, my energy is all over the place. But if I say, I'm Danielle Ford, then my energy is directed right to you, and I'm seen and respected a lot more. Another tip that I mentioned, and a lot of people laughed about it because I said that I used to do this all the time before I realized what it was, is a lot of times when you're standing there in front of a group of people, it's very natural to clasp your hands and hold them in front of your body, okay? And you might think that you look professional standing there doing that, but what that really means is it's a sign that you're uncomfortable because it's natural for you. Your body is kind of protecting yourself, and you're actually protecting your private parts. And now that I learned that, I regret ever holding my hands in front of me like that. And I see videos, past videos when I did that on stage, and I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could make it go away. But now I'm always really aware to not do that. Number 4 is no twitching. Now I mentioned not to move your hands around, not to sway side by side, but another thing a lot of people do is they'll like mess with their hair, they'll touch their hair, they'll scratch their face, they'll do things like this, kind of twitching. And it's just very distracting, and it makes you look a little bit unprofessional. So even though the itch might be there, okay, one itch here or there is okay, but don't do it as a nervous trait. Just do not let yourself twitch or fidget. It's very difficult. I'm a twitcher, I'm a mover, but I literally have to make myself stay still. I'm like, just stay still. Number 5 is you want to make eye contact the entire time. This is important all the time, whether you're walking down the street or you're talking to one person or you're talking to a group of people, or even if you're talking to a camera or anything, you always want to make eye contact with people. It's very tough to do this because you feel like they're looking at me, what are they thinking, yada yada, but all those fears are just in your head. Usually they're just listening to you, you know? So if you have a group of people, and in this case it was a group kind of sitting around in a big circle, it's very easy to kind of talk and like look around the room and not really look at people because you don't want to see their expression or you're nervous. But that just makes you look, again, kind of unconfident and a little bit unprofessional, and you're not getting your message across. So you want to make sure that the people that you're speaking to know you're talking to them, whether it's one person or it's 20 people or 100 people. You should be constantly floating around eye to eye, only for a few seconds each. You don't want to stare at people because that's creepy. But just kind of look around the room for a few seconds, and not at the same person. Sometimes you'll get really good positive energy for one person. Maybe they're smiling at you or they're nodding, like they really like what you're saying. So you have the urge to just stare at them the whole time, but that's creepy. So make sure to look around person by person by person while you're talking, and just keep constant eye contact the entire time. Now, the 6th thing that you want to do is make sure to slow down your speech to avoid ums. I am an ummer. I think I said like twice already in this video, but that's okay. It's less than I would do naturally. I all the time. But to avoid the ums, I stop. And I think about what I'm going to say next, and then I say it. Sometimes people feel like it's weird to stop in the middle of a conversation, but it's okay. If you have to think about what you're going to say, then just do it. Just stop. And then continue on with the next thing you were going to say. Okay, so that's it. Those are the 6 steps that you need to know to be comfortable speaking in front of people. And it takes practice, but it's very important. Like I said in the beginning of the video, being able to talk to people, being able to influence people is so important in having success with your life. So I really encourage you to practice it. And if you have any questions about it, leave a comment below. If you liked this video, then be sure to like it and subscribe and send to a friend. If you know somebody who really needs to hear this message, then share it on social media or just text it to them. And if you're not part of the club yet, then head over to youngmomsclub.com, enter your name and email, and I will immediately send you the 7 steps to being a kick-ass young mom and connect with you one-on-one. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Is it ready? Focus. Okay. Don't say do as I say, not as I do.